So, I'd like to start my message today by telling a story that has been retold by spiritual teacher Tara Brock. And it goes like this. So, there's a woman coming home from a meditation retreat. She's at the airport and goes into a store and buys herself a package of cookies. She goes out, all the tables are occupied, so she decides to sit with a stranger. She takes out her newspaper, is starting to read, and reaches for one of her cookies. And to her great surprise, he then helps himself to one of the cookies. She's totally shocked by this behavior, but decides not to say anything and keeps reading her newspaper, takes another cookie, and then he takes another cookie, and this goes on until there's one cookie left. He takes the cookie, breaks it in half, offers her one, and then eats his half. And then he leaves. So she's just totally shocked at what happened with this experience. And she hears her gate being called over the loudspeaker, so she walks over to her gate and opens her bag and pulls out her phone to get her ticket. And there in her bag is her package of cookies. And to her horror, she realized that she had been eating his. So Tara Brock remarks on this story, one of my favorite ways of understanding the spiritual path is really being lost in a trance, believing our thoughts, being caught in a sense of separation, being reactive, and then remembering. Coming back to some presence, to a larger reality beyond our limiting thoughts, and opening our hearts. This is what I'd like to speak about to you today. Why do we need a spiritual path and to practice that? And how do we find one and continue to follow it? So we need a spiritual path and to practice because we often feel lost. Whether we are consciously aware of it or not, we need meaning and purpose. We want to show up fully. We want to feel balanced, connected, and understood. Most importantly, we need a spiritual practice because we need to know what to do with all this pain that we feel. The discomfort and the suffering. Suffering is a part of life, and most of us don't know what to do with it. It is strong, unforgiving, and sometimes unrelenting, and it often hijacks and takes control of our whole being. Things will go wrong in life, but we work through these disappointments and great pains. And how can we do that? What do we rely upon to guide us and carry us through when we feel hopeless, lost, and weak? Even those that dedicate their lives to a spiritual path still find the practice of taking care of their suffering to be quite the challenge. It is not easy, but it is necessary to learn how. Buddhist master Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Our problem in the world is a spiritual problem. Not that we need religion. We are doing harm to the earth, harm to ourselves, starting wars, all because we don't have the ability to take care of our pain. When we don't know how to take care of our pain, we consume. We are ready to create more pain. We need to learn to transform this pain. We run away, even when we think we're doing good things. We lose our sense of being, which causes us to lose our inner being, our collective connection to all of life." It's called a spiritual path because it's a journey. And it is a practice because it takes dedication and effort. It takes intention. It takes personal responsibility and a desire to work toward your own well-being, knowing that any inner work that you do is a gift to all beings. It's a dedication to loving and caring for yourself in the same way you wish for all beings to be cared for. There is a spiritual seed inside every one of us that is always calling us home. This seed is an inner wisdom that is sending out an invitation for us to remember who we really are outside of our thoughts and our stories, outside of a thus, us and them narrative. We feel that longing to remember while we're also feeling the pains of life. And we don't know what to do. So we start searching, but we are looking in the wrong places. We look out there for some solution. We keep searching and thinking there must be an answer out there. We buy things, we consume, we distract ourselves, we doom scroll, we seek out pleasurable experiences to raise our spirits. But deep down, what we are really searching for is right here. Our seed of awakening is right here, calling us home. Unfortunately, because we're human and we are complicated things, there are many layers of grime and armor that grow around this seed. Our mind runs the show. In an effort to relieve this longing that we feel and the hurt we feel, we do exactly the opposite of what we need to do. We try to protect ourselves by closing off. We forget that we are completely interrelated to everything in existence and are never alone in what we are feeling. We forget that our spiritual seed is still there under all that armor and is shining brightly and is calling us home to remember. I'd like to share another story that holds within it this truth. There is a huge ancient Buddhist statue, and due to its style, it's believed to have been created sometime during the 13th to 14th centuries in Southeast Asia. And it's not a handsome statue. It was made of plaster and clay. But people still really loved this statue for its staying power. It's lasted for centuries. So time has gone on, and the statue has been passed around, and eventually it ended up in Bangkok. And after centuries of its existence, in the mid-1950s, the statue began to crack due to prolonged drought in the area. In May 1955, a group of monks were brought in to investigate the statue. They brought their little flashlights and shined them into the cracks to try to see what was going on, and what shined out was a flash of gold. Every crack they looked into, they saw the same shining. They guessed that all that plaster and clay must have been some sort of covering, so they decided to dismantle it. And it turned out that it was just a covering. Under all that protection was a pure gold solid statue of the Buddha. To this day, it is considered the most valuable religious object in the world. It is called the Golden Buddha. The monks believed that the statue had been covered to protect it through all the difficult years, much in the same way that we put on all this armor and put up our walls to try to protect ourselves from injury and hurt. What is sad is that we forget the gold and we start believing that we're that covering. We forget what is really underneath. So finding a spiritual path and developing a spiritual practice will help us remove the layers of dirt and armor so that we can free ourselves from the trance that we find ourselves living in. To reconnect to a larger reality. Reconnect to the beings you share this life with. So you might think that the essence of the spiritual path as a remembering, reconnecting to the gold that's in here. So now let's talk about how you can find your own spiritual path that will allow you to remember and reconnect to your own inner wisdom while also meeting and sitting with any discomfort and suffering in life. And ultimately, we want to transform and move through any disappointments and suffering. As the saying goes, the only way out is through. Now, often people connect spirituality to religion and might believe that you need religion in order to have spirituality. But I believe, and the Buddhist path teaches, that this is not actually true. The current Dalai Lama states in his book, My Spiritual Journey, "It seems important to me to distinguish between religion and spirituality. Religion implies a system of beliefs based on metaphysical foundations, along with the teachings of dogmas, rituals, and prayers. Spirituality, however, corresponds to the development of human qualities, such as love, compassion, patience, tolerance, forgiveness, and a sense of responsibility. These inner qualities, which are the source of happiness for oneself and others, are independent of any religion. That is why I have sometimes stated that one can do without religion, but cannot do without spirituality. So we can develop these universal qualities with or without religion. The issue is that most of us don't know how. We need guidance, we need support, and we must not let ourselves abandon a spiritual path if we've left a religion or haven't found one yet that we identify with. You are doing exactly what you need to do just by being here, being present and leaning into community. Our church is a spiritual refuge to help you open your heart and empower your spiritual path. My challenge to you today is that you commit to intentionally spending time with yourself so you discover a spiritual path that you can practice not only here, but also out there and at home. When you are by yourself and you are hearing the stories and you're feeling the feelings, what you can do then. A spiritual practice will support you even when you feel overwhelmed and lost, when you feel hopeless and weak, and also when you feel joy and gratitude, and when you marvel at the blessings that have come into your life. So I'd like to share with you 3 reminders that provide guidance as you discover and travel down your own spiritual path. You can return to these 3 reminders again and again to reconnect to your spiritual seed, and it will remind you of what to do with all that discomfort and pain that you encounter. So the 3 reminders are this. I think he's going to put it up on the slide for you. Oh, I know. You have it in your bulletins. That's where it is. So there's a little sheet in there. I wrote it down so you could take it home. So the 3 reminders are, number 1 is to wake up from your thoughts. Move from being lost in thoughts to being aware of your thoughts. Learn to see, oh, this is just a thought. You don't actually have to believe them, nor do you have to shove them down and get rid of them. Just notice what's going on up there in your mind. Number 2 is feel the feelings. What is the vulnerability that is happening right now? When we do that, our presence increases, becomes more spacious and tender, and a quality of freedom follows that. Stay with what is difficult in our bodies. And number 3 is to remember love. In some way, turn toward love. Express care. Let care in. The smallest gesture can soften our hearts and remind us of our belonging. So wake up from our thoughts, feel the feelings, and remember love. Now, I'm a very practical person, so I like to have specifics on what exactly I can do to put these reminders into practice. So I've come up with a list of 5 simple things you can do to implement these reminders. So number 1 is to smile. It seems so simple, but whenever we bring a smile to our lips, it softens us, even the tiniest little bit. And I have practiced my own words this week, and it is hard. It is hard when you are feeling frustrated or upset. You feel that hardness, and it is hard to smile. But if you can get yourself to just even pretend and get it out there, you feel like a little bit of softening. So smile. Smile at the day. How wonderful it is to be alive and to be here. The other thing you can do, number 2, is to calm your nervous system. And we're going to try this together. This is an easy practice. You're going to take your right hand and put it over your heart. Take your left hand and put it on your belly. Just feel the presence of your hands on yourself. And then you're just going to breathe deeply. So let's just take a moment to just breathe and feel. And that's all it is. This will help. If you feel the agitation and all of that, just ground. Come back here. Okay, number 3 is to learn to be in stillness. Work up to meditation. So we often hear, you should meditate, 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 right? And a lot of us are like, okay, if you've tried it, it's not the funnest thing to do, and it's actually kind of hard, right? It's very hard to sit with ourselves and not do anything and realize our minds are kind of crazy. I mean, they're going all over the place, right? So instead of having a big goal of, I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes a day, I want you to start simple, which is learning to be in moments of stillness, okay? So we have to kind of create some space here. And Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk I quoted earlier, his famous saying is, don't just do something, sit there. So here are 3 activities you can do to learn to be in stillness. Activity number 1 is to count to 10. So anytime you are transitioning from one activity to another, my favorite time to do it is when I'm in the car. So I drive to the store, and I sit there, and I slowly count to 10 before I get out and I go in the store. Or say you're going to a friend's house. And it's especially helpful if, someone hasn't been nice to you on the roads, right? And you're like, I can't believe that person did that. So get there and just stop and count before you go in. This creates space. Returns to presence. Activity number 2, start with being as present as you can with one activity daily. So that's maybe drinking your morning beverage, doing the dishes, eating a meal, single action, single focus. So instead of getting your drink and then getting your phone or getting something to read, just be there in the moment with that activity. Presence. Activity number 3 is learn to do nothing and just be with yourself. And a stretch goal for this is to create a lazy time or even a lazy day once in a while where nothing is planned and you can just allow yourself to be. What you'll see is that things unfold. Your creativity comes forth. When you create space, you feel inspired, you feel energized. So allow yourself that time to just be. So number 1 was smile. Number 2 was calming your nervous system. Number 3 was learning to be in stillness. So number 4 is to practice being present with others. So speak lovingly whenever possible. Listen deeply when someone is speaking to you. And one thing is sometimes we're like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. What you can do is to focus on your breathing while someone is speaking to you. So as you are listening, just pay attention to your breath coming in and out. It will ground you, it will make you more present, and you will listen better. And number 5 is to explore productive ways for you to take care of your suffering. There's so many options out there. So for you, it's, let's try. Is it this, this, this? So here are some ideas. Is it through spending time in nature, like going outside? Taking a walk. So doing something that's physical, moving the body. Is it listening to something inspiring, such as a story or a podcast? Is it meditating? Do you want to make something? Make music. Do you want to make something with your hands? Crafts, perhaps. I also mentioned on there dancing, right? Moving the body. So explore. There's so many different things that are out there, and only you will know what helps you. So when you feel the closing down and you feel that protection coming in and you feel overwhelmed and you feel hopeless, turn to this. Turn to what can I do that might help me soften. It's not going to solve all your problems, but it will at least help you soften to move forward. So as you're walking down your path, there are questions I want you to ask yourself that will help you to know if you're on the right path, a good path. And the questions are this. Is my spiritual path and practice making me kinder toward myself and to others? Is it making me more open and inclusive, more understanding, and loving? Am I growing in my ability to be present and to take care of my disappointments? So I'd like to end my talk today with a poem and a meditation. And then after our group meditation, we'll do our normal sung meditation response together. So the poem is an excerpt from The Great Wagon by Rumi. Out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass and the world is too full to talk about, ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorsill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. So in this space, I invite